Jefferson County Court at Law number 2 is back in session. The court is in session and calls number M329926, case is filed in the state of Texas versus Ava Janine Chambers. Ms. Chambers, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Chambers, would you please raise your right hand? Ms. Chambers, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God? Ms. Chambers, you may put your hand down. Again, Ms. Chambers, how are you doing?
I'm doing.
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking, Ms. Chambers. You're represented in your case by your attorney, Attorney Reverend Jackson. Attorney Jackson, do you waive a record in Ms. Chambers' case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Chambers, I have before me a document that is titled Information. This information was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. In this information, it alleges that you, Ava Janine Chambers, on or about March 31st of 2021, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed to Class A misdemeanor offense of possession of a controlled substance. Ms. Chambers, do you understand what you have been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to discharge, Ms. Chambers, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
Now, are you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges?
Yes.
Ms. Chambers, I also have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishment, is also labeled as State's Exhibit number 1. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of this same document, Ms. Chambers, there's a set of initials on a line next to a box that's checked nolo contendere, which means no contest. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 3 of this same document, there is a signature above the line that is titled Defendant. Is this your signature?
Yes, sir.
On the next document that's titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes.
At the top of this document, there are 2 boxes that's checked. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that statement?
Yes.
The second box that's checked states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that statement? I also have a document that is titled Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Chambers, before you signed and initialed these documents that I just showed you, did your attorney, Mr. Jackson, go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Chambers, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1, the misdemeanor plea admonishment, and State's Exhibit number 2, the probable cause affidavit. State, would you like to offer State's Exhibits 1 and 2
Yes.
into evidence?
No objections, Your Honor.
No objection. State's Exhibits 1 and 2 are admitted into evidence. Mr. Jackson, you advised and counsel Ms. Chambers, is there any evidence that she is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Chambers, your attorney, Ms. Jackson, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Chambers, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
We do, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
In exchange for the defendant's plea of no contest, the state has offered $300 fine plus court costs.
Okay, Ms. Chambers, the state is offering that you pay a fine of $300 plus court costs of $387. Would you be able to, which comes to a total of $687. Would you be able to pay that today?
Your Honor, Ms. Chambers is still currently indigent. She is still currently unemployed. So we are asking that the court would tax and retire the court costs.
No, I mean, you don't tax and retire court costs off from a person being indigent. Article 42.15 we can, let me see her, never mind, why, sorry, you're gonna have to. Trina, give me her, affidavit of indigence.
I'm sorry, Judge, should I have raised this issue earlier? I don't know when the.
No, it's not a- no.
Raised the issue.
I mean, no, she said no, are you able to pay the $687?
No, sir, I can pay the three. I
Hmm?
can pay the 300.
Okay, today?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now we can put you on a payment plan where you can pay off the 687 over a period of time, you know, like if you, for example, if you pay so much a month.
I don't know how to do that in Odyssey.
Okay,
Judge, I'm not sure. I'm
okay,
not sure about any good.
okay,
And this is not a, and this is also not like a, like paid written in the dismissal, like. if this-
yeah, I know, I'm just saying that the code does allow a person to pay it off in installments in 42.15. The other alternative, let me do this here. Now, you said you can pay the 300 today?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so so you're unable to pay the court costs?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what I can do, let me do this here.
Judge, she did sit in jail for 2 days, so I mean, maybe that
Oh,
could cover.
she had 2 days credit?
I just didn't want to complicate things by putting.
No,
that
it's
on
not
the-
complicated. I need
No, we didn't
I
put
need to
that
know
as-
that information.
Yeah, we didn't put that as. a
Because
time
she's
served.
entitled, no, she's entitled to get credit for any time that she's served, you know, for example, every day that you spend in jail, you get credit $100 per day toward your fine and court costs.
Okay.
So if are you sure it's two? It's not more
No,
than,
it's two.
it's two? So this is what we're going to do. Okay. At $687 fine and court costs, we're gonna give you credit for the 2 days that you spent in jail. So that's gonna reduce this to $487 that you owe. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir, but I'm still only able to pay the 300.
Yeah.
I understand that. I'm just asking, do you understand what I just said?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and so you're gonna pay the 300 today, right? So you will only have to pay a balance of $187 that's left. You understand that?
Judge, I'm sorry, there was a misunderstanding between the state and I. mean, we were kind of under the expectation that since Ms. Chambers is indigent, that the state would be, I mean, the.
Well, that's why I'm telling her, well, I mean, if she's indigent, I'm just saying, I'm just trying to ask her now, you're gonna have a balance of $187. Do you understand that? Now, the court can convert that to community service, which means you would have to work off the, let's see.
Judge, hold on just a second. You take a second. Reach out and talk with
Okay,
counsel. I think we might have something that it's not gonna be as confusing, that we can resolve it
Okay,
And what we're gonna do is a JP reduction. It happened in all my jurisdiction. We're gonna call it down. We're just asking to reset this case for 2 weeks. She's gonna do that today. She brings the receipt. We dismiss the case, put it on the document.
what is the agreement?
JP reduction, fine and.
Attempted possession, Your Honor.
Just an attempted.
Okay, okay.
So what we're saying is reset.
Well, this is a class
Is it
A.
an A?
Then it comes down to a B.
We'll
It
come
ain't
up,
gonna go to no JP.
we'll come up with. What we need, paraphernalia. We're doing paraphernalia.
Okay,
That is a C. There we go.
yeah.
That's lesser good we can do. But the fine and court calls, we'll call it down. We just need it.
What's the fine?
$200.
Oh, she may be able to pay that today.
That's
That's
what,
what she's gonna do.
Because
she's
it's,
out of town. She's
She's
not
not,
town.
yeah, she's going to say.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, because y'all call it in, y'all can, that can be paid today. If y'all just call it in, we can just get paid today and then we get the receipt and it'll be dismissed today.
Right.
Fine.
Okay.
So are you saying that you'd rather not just leave it on the docket for now, or, I mean,
Yeah, I mean, she's just gonna go downstairs. I mean, he's gonna call it down to one of the JPs.
Yeah, I understand. Like, this is all, it's Friday for holiday. And we're gonna call down there, but. I don't know
Okay,
what
sure.
those
Okay, let's-
are.
let's-
Hopefully they are. Hey, surely is.
You gotta serve
We're gonna do it. I'm not saying that it can be done,
Okay,
Got it.
but we would give us a week there for sure.
okay, we'll give y'all a week, but I mean,
Okay.
I'm
but
gonna
just call it in today. Well,
I'm assume.
might be able to get it done before 12, because it's just, okay.
I guess his point is, in the worst
Okay,
case
in the event
scenario,
if it doesn't get done today, we'll reset it.
Close at 12. I don't know.
it must be nice.
Yeah,
What we need to do.
yeah, okay.
Up until 12, and then you're on your own.
No, hey, man, I'm here for the courts out.
Figure it out.
Yeah,
No matter what.
okay.
Yeah, I won't be glad.
Jefferson County Court, Law number 2 is back in session. The court is in session in cause number M330330. The case is styled the state of Texas versus Jose de Jesus Madrano. Mr. Madrano, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Madrano, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Madrano, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
Mr. Madrano, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Madrano?
Good, yourself?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Mr. Madrano, you're here represented by your attorney, Attorney Mark Faggett. Attorney Faggett, how are you doing?
I'm good, Your Honor. Thank you.
That's good. And state is represented in this case by Attorney Erica Porter. Attorney Porter, how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Mr. Faggett, do you waive a record in Mr. Madrano's case?
We do, Your Honor.
Mr. Madrano, I have before me a document that is titled information. This information was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. In this information, it alleges that you, Jose de Jesus Madrano, on or about March 13 of 2021, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, operating a motor vehicle in a public place, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated with an alcohol concentration level of 1.5 or more. Mr. Madrano, do you understand what you have been charged with?
I do, Your Honor.
And to discharge, Mr. Madrano, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Guilty.
Now, you're pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Correct.
And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Correct.
Mr. Madrano, I also have before me a document that is titled misdemeanor plea admonishments, also labeled as State's Exhibit Number 1. Do you recognize this document?
I do.
On page 2 of the same document, there are a set of initials on a line next to a box that's checked guilty. Would you place your initials on this document?
I do.
On the next page of the same document, there's a signature above the line that is titled defendant. Is this your signature?
It is.
On the next document is titled trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal. Do you recognize this document?
I do.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, Your Honor.
At the top of this document, there are 2 boxes that's checked. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that statement?
Yes.
The first and the second box that's checked states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that statement? I also have a document that is titled discovery certification. Do you recognize this document? And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant? Mr. Madrano, before you sign and initial these documents that I just showed you, did your attorney, Mr. Faggett, go over these documents with you? And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct
Yes, sir.
to the best of your knowledge?
It is.
Mr. Madrano, are you a citizen of the United States? State, I have before me State's Exhibit Number 1. State, would you like to offer State's Exhibit Number 1 in evidence?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections?
None, Your Honor.
No objections. State's Exhibit Number 1 will be admitted into evidence. Mr. Faggett, you've advised and counseled Mr. Madrano. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
None, Your Honor.
Mr. Madrano, your attorney, Mr. Faggett, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
I am.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes.
Mr. Madrano, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
We do, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
In exchange for the defendant's plea of guilty, the state has offered 90 days over 1 year probation, DWI intervention program, interlock, $750 fine, and 80 hours community service plus court costs.
Mr. Madrano, the state is offering that you serve 90 days in the Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not be required to serve any time in the Jefferson County Jail in this case, because you'll be placed on probation for a period of 1 year. You also be required to pay $750 plus court costs. Now, the court cost in this case is $457. You'll be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month, a year analysis fee of $15 each month, and a reimbursement fee of $15. You'll also be required to pay the DWI education and initial evaluation fee of $125 on the day of the plea. Should a further evaluation be needed, you'll be required to pay an additional $50. Now, Mr. Madrano, do you understand? Well, Mr. Madrano, you'll be required to pay in monthly installments a total of $193 a month. Will you be able to pay the $193 a month?
Yes.
You also be required to perform 80 hours of community service, install an interlock device on any vehicle that you own and operate, participate in the intervention program, drug intervention program, and you will be required to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of this DWI probation. Mr. Madrano, do you understand the state's offer?
A drug intervention program or an alcohol program?
It just says DWI, it's DWI intervention program.
Okay, all right,
Would you be able to, now, do you understand the state's offer?
I do.
And do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes,
And do you accept the state's offer?
I do.
Mr. Madrano, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Madrano, this will conclude your case. You're going to stand on the X next to your attorney, follow the directions of our clerk. Once you finish following her directions, you'll be free to go, and you have a blessed day.
Thank you.
Please stand right here in front of the clerk. Jefferson County Court at Law number 2 is back in session. The court is in session in cause number M329928, case is styled the state of Texas versus Jorge Mendoza. Mr. Mendoza, is that your full name?
It's Jorge Alberto Mendoza.
Okay. Mr. Mendoza, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Mendoza, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God? Mr. Mendoza, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Mendoza? I'm doing fine, thanks for asking. Mr. Mendoza, you're represented in your case by your attorney, Mark Faggett. Attorney Faggett, how are you doing?
I'm good, Your Honor. Thank you.
Mr. Faggett, do you waive a record in Mr. Mendoza's case?
I do.
Mr. Mendoza, I have a document before me that is titled information. This information was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. In this information, Mr. Mendoza, it alleges that you, Jorge Mendoza, on or about March 14 of 2021, while you were operating a motor vehicle in a public place in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated with an alcohol concentration level of 0.15 or more. Mr. Mendoza, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to discharge, Mr. Mendoza, how do you plead guilty, not guilty, or no contest? Now, are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty? Mr. Mendoza, I also have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishment. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of this same document, Mr. Mendoza, there are a set of initials on a line next to a box that's checked guilty. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yeah.
On page 3 of this same document, there's a signature above the line that is titled defendant. Is this your signature?
Yes, sir.
On the next document that's titled trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
At the top of this document, there are 2 boxes checked. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain agreement and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that statement? The second box that checked states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that statement?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mendoza, I also have before me a document that is titled Discovery Certification. You recognize this document?
Yes.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant? Now, Mr. Mendoza, before you signed and initialed these documents, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents? And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Mr. Mendoza, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, would you like to offer State's Exhibit number 1?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections?
None.
No objections. State's Exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Faggett, you've advised and counseled Mr. Mendoza. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
None.
Mr. Mendoza, your attorney, Mr. Faggett, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes.
Mr. Mendoza, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain
We do.
agreement?
We do, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
In exchange for the defendant's plea of guilty, the state has offered 90 days in Jefferson County jail over 1 year, probated for 1 year, DWI intervention, interlock, $500 fine, 80 hours community service, as well as court costs. And right, that's it.
Mr. Mendoza, the state is offering that you serve 90 days in the Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not be required to serve any time in the Jefferson County Jail on this case because you'll be placed on probation for 1 year. During that 1 year probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $500 plus court costs of $452. You will be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month, a urinalysis fee of $15 each month, and a reimbursement fee of $15. You also be required to pay the DWI education and initial evaluation fee of $125 on the day of the plea. Should a further evaluation be needed, you'll be required to pay an additional $50. Now, your total monthly installments, that is the total amount that you'll be required to pay each month while you're on probation, is $170 a month. Will you be able to pay the $170 each month?
Yes, sir.
You will also be required to perform 80 hours of community service, install an interlock device on any vehicle that you own or operate, attend and complete the DWI intervention program, and you will also be required to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of DWI probation. Now, Mr. Mendoza, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes,
And do you accept the state's offer?
yes.
Mr. Mendoza, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Mendoza, this will conclude your case. You're gonna stand next to your attorney, follow the directions of the clerk. Once you finish following the directions of the clerk, you'll be free to go,
Thank you.
and you have a blessed day.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Yes, sir. They get over there. And probably went to, I think, live down in the mountain, and they transferred this probation that day. Oh, you work for, yeah, then they'll tell you when you got a probation. Yeah, we won't go right on. Right after you finish it.
Then sign here, and then your right thumbprint and both boxes, okay?
In that judgment, was there attorney's fees?
The 250.
Yeah, and Mr. Mendoza, you also be required to pay the attorney's fees, reimburse that back to the county. $250, and that will also be included within your monthly installments.
Okay.
So it'll. let's see.
It's on the breakdown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask her now what's the.
Right, so it'll show you like the 250, and it has the total.
Right, they got the total on there? What is
So
it?
it's 1217, that's the total amount.
Oh, let me do this here right quick.
And then that's
Just
the
give
back
you-
of the probation office.
12,073 or?
No, hold on, let me do this.
1200.
Well,
You'll pay it out on the-
17,
I have a question.
divided
When
by
was that
11.
Earlier.
that's,
We'll have to discuss that with the
that'll be
Okay.
one, you say 1217?
There you go.
Because I got it paying that shows you paying about 110.
1,000.
That's
You
the
can
court
pay it off.
cost. Is the fine in there?
Unfortunately, since it's a DWI.
The fine.
Probation.
$500.
Yeah, I mean, pay it all off. When I do it, just keep doing it.
So that'd be about 110. That's lower than I told him. Yeah, that'd be low, he'll be paying in monthly installments lower than what I told him.
You're good, so you're good luck to you and your kid. Thank you, Drew. Two more to go, Judge.
Yeah, we have Boutte, Ms. Boutte.
Okay.
You learn this.
Oops. Jefferson County Court at Law number 2 is back in session. The court is in session and cause number 23 CCCR 0236. Case is style of the state of Texas versus Alexis Alize Boutte. Ms. Boutte, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Boutte, would you please raise your right hand? Ms. Boutte, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Boutte, you may put your hand down. Podcast. And I'm Miss and I'm gonna need Ms. Boutte. I have before me a document that is titled Information that was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. This information sheet alleges that on or about December 8 of 2022, that you, Alexis Alize Boutte, committed to Class B misdemeanor offense of possession of a controlled substance, penalty group, and it says 4 but less than 28 grams. Ms. Boutte, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to discharge, how do you plead? Guilty? Not
Guilty.
guilty? Now, are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes,
And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
yes, sir.
Ms. Boutte, I have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishments. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of this same document, there are a set of initials A, B on a line next to the box next to guilty. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 3 of this same document, there's a signature above the line that is titled Defendant. Is this your signature?
Yes, sir.
On the next document that's titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes, sir.
At the top of this document, there are 2 boxes checked. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that statement?
Yes, sir.
The second box that's checked states that you're waiving your right to appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that statement?
Yes.
Also, I have before me a document that is titled Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant? Ms. Boutte, before you signed and initialed these documents, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything that your attorney went over with you?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct
Yes, sir.
to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Boutte, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1, the misdemeanor plea admonishment. State, would you like to offer State's Exhibit number 1?
Yes, sir.
Any objections, Mr. Faggart?
None.
No objections. State's Exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Faggart, you advised and counsel Ms. Boutte, is there any evidence that she is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
None.
And Ms. Boutte, your attorney, Mr. Faggart, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Very.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Boutte, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, Do we have a plea bargain agreement?
We do, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
In exchange for the defendant's plea of guilty or no contest, the state is offered 10 days in Jefferson County Jail, giving her credit for 2 days. With court costs, she is to turn herself in on September the 11th by 6 p.m.
Okay. Ms. Boutte, the state is offering that you serve 10 days in the Jefferson County Jail. You will be given credit for the 2 days that you've already served in jail on this case. The court cost in this case, Ms. Boutte, is $377. Ms. Boutte, will you be able to pay the $377 court cost? Okay, when you say yes, but not today,
Is there a way like I can get like a payment
plan?
Because wasn't aware of the.
okay, let me do this here. Now, if you're unable to pay it today, and it actually is due to today, the court can, I have before me an affidavit of indigence. Before, could you show this to your client? Jefferson County affidavit of indigence. Ms. Boutte, do you still, do you recognize that document?
Yes, I think I put that out when I went to jail.
Okay, and on page 2 of that document, there's a signature. Is that your signature says defendant signature?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me see that document. Now, is everything in this document still true and correct?
I don't work that much like anymore, so I don't even work, not even 15 hours a week.
So in essence, you're saying you even from the time that the court found you indigent on this document, you're making less money than you were making on here?
Yeah.
Okay. So the court is gonna find that you're still indigent. Based on that finding of indigency, the court is going to waive the court costs in this case pursuant to Article 42.15 of the Texas Code of Criminal Procedures. Okay,
You don't have
That-
to pay them.
yeah, that waive, you won't have to pay it.
Yeah.
Now, Ms. Boutte, do you understand the state's offer and the court's finding?
Yes, sir.
And do you think that the state's offers and the court's finding is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept it?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Boutte, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. And Ms. Boutte, you are to turn yourself in on September 11th, 2023 at or before 6 p.m.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, Ms. Boutte, you're gonna stand on the X next to your attorney, follow the directions of our clerk. She'll tell you what to do. She's gonna give you some paperwork. You have to have that paperwork with you when you go to turn yourself in.
Yes, sir.
Jefferson County Court at Law number 2 is back in session. The court is in session in 2 cases. First case is cause number M333-444. Second case is cause number M333-726. Both cases are styled the state of Texas versus Ronald Courtney Franklin Jr. Ronald Courtney Fountain Jr. Mr. Fountain, is that your full name? How are you doing, Mr. Fountain? Okay, Mr. Fountain, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Fountain, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God? Mr. Fountain, you may put your hand down. Mr. Fountain, you're represented in your case, on your cases by your attorney, Attorney Mark Faggett. Attorney Faggett, do you have a record in Mr. Fountain cases?
We do.
Mr. Fountain, in cause number M333-444, I have before me a document that is titled Information. In this information, it alleges that you, Ronald Courtney Fountain, on or about June 3rd of 2022, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of unlawfully carrying a weapon. Mr. Fountain, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to discharge Mr. Fountain, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Yes,
Now, are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
sir.
And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Fountain, I also have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishments. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of this same document, there are a set of initials on a line next to the box that said guilty. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 3 of this same document, there is a signature above the line that is titled defendant. Is this your signature?
Yes, sir.
On the next document, that's titled trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
At the top of this document, there are 2 boxes that's checked. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that statement?
Yes, sir.
The second box that's checked states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you are giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that statement? And Mr. Fountain, I also have before me a document that is titled Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document? And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant? Now, Mr. Fountain, before you signed and initialed these documents that I just showed you, did your attorney, Mr. Fagger, go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Sir.
Mr. Fountain, are you a citizen of the United States? State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1, the misdemeanor plea admonishment. State, would you like to offer State's Exhibit number 1 into evidence?
Yes.
Mr. Fagger, do you have any objections?
None.
No objections. State's Exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Fagger, you advised and counseled Mr. Fountain. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
None.
And Mr. Fountain, your attorney, Mr. Faggot, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mr. Fountain, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. And I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement in
We
this
do.
case? And what is that agreement?
In exchange for the defendant's plea of guilty or no contest, the state has offered 30 days in Jefferson County Jail, giving him credit for 8 days. He is to turn himself in on September the 8th by 6 p.m. Also, he will forfeit his weapon in this case, and that is a Glock 17 serial number BFWK 300. Also, we will dismiss cause number M 333726, and he will forfeit his 2 weapons in that case. And they are Black and Silver Smith and Wesson pistol, serial number HFA 9796, and also a Black Smith and Wesson 9mm pistol, serial number HTX 2687, and any drums or ammunition.
Do we know this court cost is? Mr. Fountain. The state is offering in cause number M333444 that you serve 30 days in the Jefferson County Jail. You will be given credit for the 8 days that you've already served.
They didn't transfer.
Yeah, I know, it said 0. We're just trying to figure out what his court cost is.
$270.
270. Now, Mr. Fountain, the court cost in this case is $270. Are you able to pay the $270 court cost?
No, sir.
Mr. Fountain, I'm handing your attorney a Jefferson County affidavit of indigence. Do you recognize that document?
Yes, sir.
And on page 2 of that document, there's a signature above the line that is titled defendant. Is that your signature?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Fountain, is everything in that document still true and correct today?
No, sir.
It's not? What has changed?
I don't have a job.
Okay, I don't think on that, you didn't have no income on that at that time.
Yeah.
You didn't have a job, so it didn't change, right? Now, Mr. Fountain, the court is going to find that you're indigent. Based on the findings of indigency, the court is going to waive the court costs. In this case, that means that you won't have to pay, and that's pursuant to Article 42.15 of the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure. Mr. Let's see. This is Fountain. And the state is also, in this case, Mr. Fountain, I have let's see, you're supposed to start your jail time and remain in jail time on September 8th of 2023 at or before 6 p.m. Is that correct?
Yes, y'all.
And I have before me, in this case, a motion to forfeit the weapon to the Port Arthur Police Department. Mr. Fountain, do you recognize this motion to forfeit? And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Correct.
Now, Mr. Fountain, before you signed, okay. And also I have 2 other motions to forfeit. These motions to forfeit the weapons are in cause number M333726. Now, Mr. Fountain, do you recognize these motions?
Yes, sir.
And are these your signatures on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Fountain, before you sign and initial all of these motions of forfeit that I have before you, did your attorney go over these motions with you? And did you read and understand everything that he went over?
Sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
And you want the court to grant these motions, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Fountain. The court is going to grant the motions to forfeit the weapons in these cases. Well, yeah, in both of these cases. Now, Mr. Fountain, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Because and do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state offer?
Yes, sir.
And the state, if I failed to mention, the state will be dismissing cause number M333726 for forfeiture of those weapons and as part of the plea bargain, and cause number M333444, whereby you'll be sentenced to 30 days in the Jefferson County Jail, given credit for 8, and the court costs in this case will be waived pursuant to Article 42.15 of the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure. And your jail time will begin on September 8, 2023, at or before 6 p.m. And the weapon in this case will be forfeited will also be forfeited to the Beaumont Police Department. And again, Mr. Fountain, do you understand the state's offers?
Yes, sir.
And do you think that it's fair and it's just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept it?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Fountain, the court is going to follow the plea bargain agreements that you have entered into with the state. And before you leave, your attorney has given to you a document that is titled Model Written Ammunition on Ineligibility to Possess a Firearm. And so pursuant to the Texas Administrative Code, Section 176.1, the court hereby admonishes you or warns you of the following. Number one, you are by entry of order or judgment ineligible under Texas law to possess a firearm or ammunition. 2, beginning now, if you possess a firearm or ammunition, it could lead to charges against you. If you have questions about how long you will be ineligible to possess a firearm or ammunition, you should consult an attorney. Number 3, under Texas Penal Code Section 46.013, a firearm in any device designed, made, or adapted to expel a projectile through a barrel by using the energy generated by an explosion or burning substance, or any device readily convertible to their use. B, firearm does not include a firearm that may have as an integral part a folding knife blade or other characteristics of weapons made illegal by Penal Code Chapter 46, and that is 1, an antique or curio firearm manufactured before 1899, or 2, a replica of an antique or curio firearm manufactured before 1899, but only if the replica does not use rimfire or centerfire ammunition. The statutes listed below are a starting point for ineligibility to possess a firearm or ammunition. For more information about the laws that make you ineligible to possess a firearm or ammunition, or for more information on how long your ineligibility to possess a firearm or ammunition lasts, the court recommends you contact an attorney. Code of Criminal Procedure, Article 17.292, Magistrate's Orders for Emergency Protection. Code of Criminal Procedure, Article 42.0131, Notice for persons convicted of misdemeanors involving family violence. Penal Code Section 46.02, unlawful carrying weapons. Penal Code Section 46.04, unlawful possession of firearm. Penal Code Section 25.07, violation of certain court orders or conditions of bond in a family violence, child abuse or neglect, sexual assault or abuse, indecent assault, stalking, or trafficking case. Family Code Section 85.026, warning on protective orders. Mr. Fountain, the document that you have been given to you by your attorney is for your records. This will conclude your case. You're going to stand on the X next to your attorney, follow the directions of the clerk. Once you finish following the directions of the clerk, you'll be free to go, and you have a blessed day. Jefferson County Court at Law number 2 is back in session. The court is in session in 2 cases, cause number M331295, cause number M331297. Both cases are styled the state of Texas versus Karen Beauchamp. Karen Beauchamp was scheduled to be in court this morning for the court's announcement docket, which was scheduled at 9 a.m. At 9 a.m., the court's bailiff called the name of Karen Beauchamp at the courthouse door. Karen Beauchamp did not answer. Karen Beauchamp has not appeared in court since the court's been in session. The time now is 11:51 a.m. on today's date of September 1st of 2023. Mr. Bailiff, would you please call the name of Karen Beauchamp at the courthouse door? Karen Beauchamp's name was just called at the courthouse door by the court's bailiff. Karen Beauchamp did not answer. A reasonable time has passed to give Ms. Beauchamp an opportunity to appear in court. She has not appeared in court. State, do you have a motion?
Motion for forfeiture on both cases.
Okay, those motions will be granted. Karen Beauchamp's bond will be forfeited and the warrant should be issued for her arrest and cause number M331295 and cause number M331297. Next case is cause number 23CCCR0108. Case is styled of state of Texas versus Leela Jane Johnson. Leela Johnson was scheduled to be in court this morning for the court's announcement docket, which was scheduled at 9 a.m. At or about 9 a.m., the court's bailiff called the name of Leela Johnson at the courthouse door. Leela Johnson did not answer. Leela Johnson has not appeared in court since the court's been in session. The time now is 11:53 a.m. on today's date of September 1st of 2023. Mr. Bailiff, would you please call the name of Leela Johnson at the courthouse door?
Leela Johnson. Leela Johnson. No response.
Leela Johnson's name was just called at the courthouse door by the court's bailiff. Leela Johnson did not answer. A reasonable time has passed to give Ms. Johnson an opportunity to appear in court. State, do you have a motion?
Statement of fault.
That motion will be granted. Leela Johnson bond will be forfeited and a warrant shall be issued for her arrest and cause number 23CCCR0108. And this will conclude the calling of the court's announcement docket, County Court at Law number 2, Jefferson County, Texas. Judge Terrence L. Holmes presiding. Everyone, please have a blessed day. You may be excused.
Thank you, Judge. No, we can.
All right, and everyone have